So next, we want, stories are important. People's passions and the questions that were asked. How can people bust in and bust through? Well, we're pleased to have some vignettes that we're going to have folks share. And right now we've got a company called Two Marines Moving. Everybody's got to move in life. We've talked about the marketplace for jobs, being willing to adapt. So there's no doubt that there's always going to be a market for people getting all their stuff from one place to another. And we're thrilled to have Marines who started a company come up and tell their story. So please welcome Christy Cater and Nick Balcom. Nick is the president and founder, and Christy is the vice president and co-founder. So Nick and Christy, come up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Hi.
Christy,
Nice to meet you.
how are you? Let's see if I can, oh, look at that. I don't know how you can control this from there. The on-off button doesn't matter whether or not it's on. So Nick and Christy, share your story with us, and obviously there's no doubt that the internet's existence helped you. So tell us about where you came from, how you started the company, and where things are today.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for having us here. And I think we have a very interesting story, and I think an inspirational one as well. I come from a background of military service in my family. My grandfather was at Pearl Harbor when it was attacked on December 7th. His dad was in World War I. His grandfather was in the Civil War, and then going back to the American Revolution. And I just learned that actually last year when I went back to Iowa for a family get-together. And so I didn't even realize, no one said, hey, you should join the military, or you should serve. It just kind of is a thing in my family, I guess. And I was in high school at when 9/11 happened, a senior in high school. And that's when I decided that I was going to join the Marines. And then I joined the Marine Corps and got so much out of it. I did 6 years in the Marines. I was an infantry squad leader, a sergeant. Like, it's kind of, even being a CO, it's kind of hard to compare, like, being with your battle buddies at 03 in the morning, coming out of a helicopter. Like, you can't do that, you know, and anywhere else. And so then I got out in 2008, and that's also when I met Christy. And then we moved to Washington, D.C. together. And she had a job at Robert Half. And I did not have a job, and I was fresh out of the Marine Corps, and I'd been a serial entrepreneur before. It's always been an interest. And I got another phone call or a text message from a friend like, hey, can you come help me move? And
You're a Marine, help me move.
I'm a Marine, help me move. They're like, you got some muscles, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's always friends, and here's some beer and pizza. And I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to do this for beer and pizza anymore. And then Christy was on November 10th, the Marine Corps birthday, and then we started the company, and Christy was right there with me the whole way, and it took off. We did $600,000 in revenue our first year.
Where'd you get your money from to start?
My credit cards.
Your credit cards.
We had no bank was going to give us a loan. It was 2008, 2009. We were in a recession. We just wrote on the debt of my credit cards. We started the business out of our apartment. It was a very small one-bedroom apartment. I was pregnant at the time with our son. So that was, we had a lot of really important things happening at the same time.
So you were invested in more ways than just your...
Yes, it was all, you know, we talk about the American dream, and there are definitely barriers to entry in the market, but our story is the American dream. We did not have anyone giving us money. We come from, I guess, lower middle class families. You know, my dad was a union factory worker. You know, my
dad worked at FedEx.
Yeah, and so we didn't have, you know, donors or angel investors, anything like that. We had some great mentors, and we had desks in our apartment and iPhones and Google Calendars. Yep. Literally, it was our first software that we used to book our moves. Google Calendars was our software.
Yeah.
And in the body of the message, we put in the customer's name, phone number, email,
Yep.
And because we didn't have money for moving software like we use now,
Right,
so
but
that was free.
It was there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who were your mentors?
One of our mentors that we met early on, Oscar Weigel, his family owns a group of automotive repair shops in the area. And he actually met Nick because Nick had Tennessee plates still. You know, when you get out of the military, you keep your plates as long as you can until you're forced to go to the DMV and register where you actually live.
Because you have to move all the time.
So they struck up a conversation, and he rented us a tiny little room in his auto shop. That was our first technical business address.
With very nice wood panel walls.
It was yeah. I refused when I saw it. I was pregnant. I'm like, I don't want to be around petroleum products. I'm not going to work here. And within a day of thinking I was going to, work from home and do all the things that I needed to do, I realized I had no choice but to show up at this place every day. So we became very acquainted with the auto business. Maybe that'll be our next
It worked
thing.
out great because he rented us U-Hauls. Because he has a U-Haul franchise there. He repaired our trucks when we were finally able to purchase trucks. And then he also owns part of the insurance company that we use. So as a mentor, I don't know, godfather, something like that. Yeah.
And how big are you today?
Now we're about 100 employees. And so we hire from the Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, and then we have 2 locations. Our headquarters is here in Alexandria, Virginia. And then we opened a second location maybe about 2 years ago in South Florida for the Miami-Fort Lauderdale market.
Wow. And what are your plans for the future? What do you see coming down the pike?
Realistically, we see our company as investing in veterans. And so our goal is to create opportunities for other veterans to be entrepreneurs in more of a franchise-based situation.
Yeah.
So we hope to have other locations that other veterans that are exiting the military or reservists that are looking to invest and grow their own business can be involved in our business.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming to tell your story. There are millions of folks like you, but this is the heartbeat of America and innovation. You all saying, "Hey, here's what we need. What's out there? What can we use?" You found, Google Calendar. It helped you keep everything organized, and we got to figure out a way to get capital, not just credit card debt, to folks who have the commitment. That's the personal story that you all have is one that I think is something that we want to talk about and highlight. And our next speaker is Senator Tim Scott, who's here, and we know that there are Senate votes, so we appreciate you all being here. But he's talking about how to get capital to people who have ideas and a need. And we want to thank you for your work. Bless your family, and thanks for sharing your story. Please
thank you, everyone.
Join me in welcoming.
Thank you.
Thanking them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Christy. Appreciate it.